Hi Cancer, my lunar brothers and sisters. Welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. Remember to check out all three so that you know which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. They're general readings. Use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. If you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. Your key to the week this week is the Hierophant card. So I'm going to tell you something really interesting. If you've been with me long enough, you know I never edit my videos. What you get is what you get. Every so often, I will make like a monumental cock up of some sort, and I'm like, oh crap, now I have to start again. So the first time I tried to record the Cancer video, your key to the week was the Hierophant card. Your key to the week was the Temperance card. Now, for those of you that are my students or current students or ex-students, you are already like, ugh, oh my gosh, right? Because you know what that means. So this is just, it's a very, very interesting thing that the Hierophant card is the card that shows up this time around, because it means that the message is still there in some regard. So what this tells me is, this week, in all of these different areas of life, you're trying to bring a structure. You're also trying to bring some form of coherence to whatever it is that the sector is that we're looking at. So you're looking for structure, you're looking for coherence, but more importantly, on the opposite end of the scale, and I feel like it's important to mention this, the Temperance card would be about alignment, right? And so in all of these different areas of life, this is about you coming into a greater sense of alignment. The way that you're going to do this is through the Hierophant, right? So this means that this week you have to pay attention to your routines, your patterns, your rituals, the things that you're doing on a mundane, everyday, day-to-day level will need to be observed, because that's where those small changes are going to make a big difference. Now, what this also tells me is this week you are very likely to be interacting with a bigger or a larger institution of some sort, which, you know, is not necessarily a bad thing. For your actions and options, you've got the Nine of Swords, right? So you're going to, what's really crazy is the card that came up in this position. This is as far as I got in the previous spread. What you had was the Temperance card and the Three of Swords, right? And the message that I gave with that was, this week, it's about you using your actions to remove something from your life or to release something. Now, usually that comes with a level of don't cut your nose off to spite your face, right? Because your actions is what you do. However, the message that you got this week with that Three of Swords was, whatever it is that you're releasing from your life, it just doesn't have a place anymore. It's not about spite, it's not about malice, it's not about harm, it's not about any of those things. It's just about you doing what is best for you. The Nine of Swords shows your empathy, right? Because it means that whatever actions you take this week, there's a part of you that's kind of like, I'm damned if I do and I'm screwed if I don't, and I know I need to make this move for myself. So it's like, in being self-focused, self-centered, or self-directed, you're actually really worried about how this is going to come across. And to be honest with you, I don't think you should be. I think you know now might be a time for you to really focus, particularly around Wednesday, right? Now might be a really good time for you to focus on what you feel needs to be released, because it's causing more anxiety, more challenge, more issue, etc. Even if it's something or someone that you love, there is an element this week of you removing something from your life that that's no longer doing what it's supposed to do. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Seven of Wands. So you will need to battle it out, right? So, and what I mean by this is, it doesn't necessarily mean arguments. It means that you might have to sort of talk this out. So whatever moves, sidesteps, adjustments, or adaptations you're making this week, you might come up against some kind of resistance. And, it's the Seven of Wands, which means you're in the right, you're in the integrity, you have what you require in order to kind of fight for something. And that's something that I've observed about Cancer as a sign, through my work with people and their charts and their astrology, through tarot even, just through being a Cancer moon. Like, a lot of the time, Cancer won't just fight for something because they want to fight for it. A lot of the time they'll check if it's in its integrity before they go in for it, right? And that's something that I really love. Now, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, the Seven of Wands, because this is literally, right? The Hierophant card would be like a university. The Seven of Wands is a battle, a challenge. It could even be something like an appeal. And this comes up with the Nine of Swords. So there's like a worry or a stress about some sort of fight or battle that you need to have with the institution that you're studying with. My advice to you would be, with this combination of cards, you're going to have to go through it. All right, you can't go around, you can't sidestep it, so you've got to go through it. And I would if I were you. When it comes to those of you that are employed by somebody else, the Seven of Wands with the Hierophant suggests that things have been a little bit shaky with your employment for a while. And also potentially that maybe your ideas around certain things have started to divest. So whatever the company morals are, whatever their foundations are, etc., or maybe even just, you look at them and you think, actually, whatever you're doing is a little bit antiquated. I'm not really here for it anymore. There's something about these cards that suggests you want and need change and that you're not getting it where you are. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this week, it's possible that a bigger or a larger institution could, for some of you, you might get an offer. They might say to you, look, we want to buy your business, or whatever the case might be. You can fight them a little bit longer, right? Even if you're, worried about finances and resources, fight a little longer, fight a little harder. For those of you where this is you working with or collaborating with a bigger or larger institution, don't let them bully you, right? Like, even if you're a Jack Russell versus their Great Dane, right, which, size different, then you got to go in for it, right? This is not a time to back down, Cancer, in any way, shape or form. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, your Seven of Wands, certainly within familial ties and spheres, this will be about either you or someone within the family trying to buck a trend. Let's say you all go to church on a Sunday and somebody wants out, or maybe you want out. Let's say your parents-in-law are like, oh, well, I want to get the kids christened or baptized or whatever, and you're like, the fuck you will. Right, we're talking about my babies now. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, in some way, you might just be like, look, you know what? I know this is your tradition, and that's what this is, right? And this is an interesting place to be as a Cancer, because even though Cancer is very loving and open to everybody, it is a very traditional sign. It likes those traditional sort of equations and values in whatever it does. So for you to be wanting to buck the trend, there's obviously a good reason, and you may have to fight to get that reason across. For your communications and for your love and relationship, you've got the Nine of Wands. Okay, so the first thing that we see is the two nines, right? Two nines represents receipts. There are going to be a lot of conversations with a loved one, a partner. So for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, there will be big conversations this week about the relationship and where the health or the state of the relationship really does need to be looked at. There's some sort of, and I'm sorry to say this, and I really hope that I'm wrong, but there's potentially some kind of irreparable wound to the relationship that you are unwilling or unable to let go of. And there could be any number of reasons for that, right? The Nine of Wands is a vulnerability, but it can also be things like PTSD. There's some kind of past wound, right? Receipts, keeping them receipts, Henny, right? Like there's something in your past around the relationship that you're unable to get past or to let go of. Cancer is, the pincers of the crab, right? It's a sign that will cling to what it knows, what it feels, what it believes. And you know that saying, like, people will forget what you do for them, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. If you're cross-watching for a Cancer, you better fucking believe it. Right? A Cancer will never, whether you made them feel good, whether you made them feel shitty, whether you made them feel bad, whether you made them feel angry, a Cancerian, sun, moon, or ascendant will never forget how you made them feel about a certain thing. So you better make sure you come correct, because otherwise you're going to find yourself on the outs. And I can tell you, when you are dealing with a sign that is so warm, so empathetic, so loving, so encompassing as a Cancer, when they freeze you out, honey, you better know you're going to be feeling that frost, right? Too many astrologers talk shit about Cancer, but they forget to realize that it's actually one of the strongest signs. Anywho, just my 2 cents. I am slightly biased because I've got Cancer moon. So, anyway, there's something about this relationship that you can't let go of. You may talk it out. You may be able to find some common ground. I'm just not 100% convinced that you'll be able to move past it. And I really hope I'm wrong on that front. For you, right? Especially if you've got a family, if you've got children, etc., or if you've been married or with your partner for a long time. For equally, it could be that your partner comes to you and says, hang on a sec, I can't get over this, or I can't get past this. Now, for those of you that are single and looking, honestly, it looks like you're dealing more with your physical health and vitality this week than you are with relationships. However, I wouldn't be surprised if you either reconnect with or have a conversation with somebody that you dated for a long time, maybe because their health is not good. And when you do connect with them, you might have a moment where you're kind of like, okay, like, I get it now, right? Like, it's almost like you're able to put that relationship in its proper place or perspective, and it's going to help you see yourself and relationships in general in a very different light. I just want to mention, on the 18th of May, I have something really special that is coming up. As a Cancer, I can tell you that you are going to love this. It is, so if you ever took Mindset Magic, it's very similar to that, but it's going to be a lot more accessible, and I think you guys are really going to love it. It's been a long time coming. It's not particularly, or it's not especially something brand new. It's been done by a lot of people, but they haven't done it in the way that I'm going to, and I'm really, really excited about this. So stay tuned, because you will be hearing all about it in the days and the weeks ahead. Remember that date, the 18th of May, and as I say, there's going to be, you'll see like little breadcrumbs and little things that I start to put out from here on in moving forward. So stay tuned. It would be lovely to have you. All right. Now, for your money and materials, you have the Emperor. Wow. Okay, so look, the Emperor with the Hierophant card means that there is a chance here for you to either correct or gain some form of financial assistance that you didn't realize you were entitled to. There's some kind of shift or change point here, and with the Emperor, because the Emperor could be like because both the Emperor and the Hierophant, to be fair, could be institutions, but specifically these two together represents like a bank, a building society, a house of money in some regard, right? The fact that you've got the Emperor here means that some kind of, there's going to be like a supportive man in your life, or a masculine energy that either highlights or supports you financially, that brings to you the resources that you need at this moment. The other thing with the Emperor card, it can be where this week you decide to really get on top of or start commanding your finances in some way, shape or form. It's like you're cleaning house when it comes to your money. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your head. In fact, your head and your neck and your throat, this whole sort of area of self this week are going to be things that are very much to the forefront. I will say, with such a concentration of wands, the one thing that I do want you to be really mindful of this week is things like heat rash, all right? And particularly like on the face or around the face. when it comes to your home and environment, a lot of the conversations this week will center around either a man in the house, the main man in the house, or potentially even around a father. There'll be some really big conversations, and potentially ones that go back to the familial heritage, the place that you live in, the place that you're from. There could be really big conversations around all of these things this week, so it will be interesting to see how it shows up. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.